Hello, and welcome. It is a cold day in the middle of April, and I'm for some reason wearing a winter hat on April 10th. That's ridiculous. But we're going to slow your roll in the meantime. I am Jesse Caulfield, writer for the Yawkey Way Report. Once again this season, that local Italian and local broadcaster, Dominic Lorenzano. And we're going to slow your roll today. You know, we'll talk. Baseball has started.
This is definitely a slow your roll type episode because, you know, everybody's freaking out 2 weeks into the baseball season if their team's not doing well. Yeah. And, you know, we're going to go through some of these teams with incredible starts or horrible starts and tell you, you know, if we really care or if we don't care about it. So
our first official Sox Talk of the new season, and that's exciting.
Yes.
And then, I mean, a little football. Like the draft is not far.
No.
A little more talk of that.
I mean, our draft episode's probably going to have to be next week, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
How long is the draft out? Usually under 20 days. I know that much.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then, you know, I'll talk a little bit of hockey. A huge record was broken. We'll talk about that. And Brock Purdy. All right. There's been a controversy across baseball, Dom.
Yes, there has.
I want to talk about it.
Yes.
So
there has been a massive controversy around baseball, and that is the Torpedo Bats. Now, the Yankees are not the only ones using them. There's a few players on other teams that are using them. I think the Yankees are the most prevalent as far as they have multiple people in their starting lineup using it. And, you know, the takes are everywhere. Some people think it's horrible. Some people think it's cheating. Some people are like, oh, my gosh, they're so brilliant. It's Bill Belichickian. Finding any loophole around the rules, but still being within the rules, blah, blah, blah. You know, if Anthony Volpe hits 30 home runs this year, maybe I'll change my tune. But I'll be honest, I actually don't think this is a big deal. They beat up on the Brewers. They scored 1 million runs against them to start the season. And after that, they've been held in check by the Diamondbacks for the most part, except for the one game that they won. They beat up on the Pirates for 2 games. And essentially, they scored about 7 runs in 3 games against the Tigers, 5 of them coming in the last game. They were essentially shut down most of the way by the Tigers. I think they beat up on the Brewers, who I have been on the record saying I do not think will be good this year. I think I had them finishing 4th or 3rd in the Central. Then they beat up on the Pirates. Essentially, all they've done is beat up on some really bad teams and not scored a ton of runs against good teams. So I'll be honest, I don't think I care that much about the Torpedo Bat thing. I mean, listen, again, if Volpe comes out this year and hits 25-plus home runs, maybe I'll be like, all right, there's something to this. But until they do anything else, other than just absolutely whoop on someone who is helpless and sucks. Like, I truly think the Brewers are going to be bad. Like, I think that they will win 74, 75 games.
And won 5 straight.
I think the Pirates are even worse. Those are the 2 teams they beat up against. They literally have not won a series against a good team yet. So I think the Torpedo Bat stuff for now is getting blown out of proportion. I actually don't think it's that big a deal. I know you're probably not on my side.
The Cardinals are going to finish ahead of the Brewers and the Pirates. That's what I got from that.
I think they
amongst
might.
other things.
I think they might. I might have had the Brewers finishing in 3rd though when we did our thing. But it was a distant 3rd.
Because they've looked way better, and I think they've won 5 straight.
For the Brewers?
Yes, might be 4 straight.
They did get to go play the Rockies.
They did, but they pitched very well against the Rockies in Coors.
Yes.
Who get a boost.
Yeah,
and I don't think. Listen, I also think it was a little bit of boost of, what's his face? Cortez.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was the other one. Nestor looks cooked.
Yes. And I think that was part of the issue. It's like Nestor was serving him up a little bit, which is a slight boost. They knew Nestor. Nestor threw, I think it was literally 4 straight pitches going back to last season with Freddie Freeman's grand slam that turned out to be home runs.
Yeah.
It might have been 4 straight batters, but I think it was 4 straight pitches.
Yeah, I think Nestor is actually completely cooked.
But I think the rest of the team is fine for the Brewers. But and maybe it was slightly bumped because it is Yankee Stadium. Like Aaron Judge is not using any of those bats.
Yes.
So all of his home runs were 100% legit. And his rate of home runs are coming.
I'm going to go check what the Brewers have done since. So continue.
But I still think, like, you can't, like, they broke a record.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Like, that immediately shows that, like, something was bumped here. How much is the bump? We need a bigger sample size to know. But and like most fans actually, don't like when numbers are artificially pumped up. Like people can talk about, people like more offense. People want more offense. And yes, but only if it's real. And my argument is the backlash from all steroid use, like viewership dropped off the cliff when they found out all that was fake. And the juice balls. People didn't like it when they found out home run rates were going up because of juice balls, and that turned people away. If this is if this does change the numbers a lot, like that's going to be a turnoff, and people are like, I'm not watching that. I want to see the height of human ability as it is, not artificially pumped up.
Inflated. Yep.
Yeah. And like, I think that's valid. I mean, that's just how humans look at it. That's how people have reacted to situations like this in the past. I'm not mad at any of these players or the trainers. Like, you found a loophole, I guess you could call it. You stretched the rules a little bit. Like, that's fine. I just don't think this should last. I think everyone should be like, this is baseball. It should be an even keel as possible every single pitch. That's why we change out the ball every single pitch now.
No, I know. I get you, but I just don't actually think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to help that much. I think they destroyed Nestor Cortez, and Peralta also historically has not started the seasons off that well, even though he's a pretty good pitcher. I looked at the Brewers things. Okay, they took 2 or 3 from KC. KC's viable, I guess, so that's a good one. After that, they played Cincy, who right now has Gavin Lux hitting cleanup because McLean's hurt, and they're just not hitting at all. And then they're playing the Rockies. So, like, I think the Brewers aren't good. And like I just said, then the other 2 games that the Yankees beat up on someone, it was the damn Pirates. Like, they have yet to win a series against a good team.
I don't think anyone's that good.
There's some teams that are good.
I mean,
no one's that good in the American League, but
sure. Yeah, I kind of feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to them, but I actually think the Red Sox are good.
Oh, I do too.
I think a couple of other teams that we might discuss later actually are good in the American League. But like, it kind of does look like the Dodgers and everyone else a little bit.
I mean, listen, the Phillies look pretty good right now. So,
I mean, the Nationals just, I think they took 2 out of 3.
They took 2 out of 3.
And then the one game they lost by 1. Like, that was.
I know. I'm happy to see that.
So in other words, no one is good, not even the Dodgers.
That's just not true. The Dodgers are very good. Their division is very good as well. But yeah, listen. When all you did was beat up on the Brewers, including Nestor Cortez, who potentially might be the worst pitcher in baseball now. I mean, he never threw hard to start with, and now that 2 years in, he lost like 2 more miles an hour on the fastball. It's BP. Like, it's bad. Like, I do think he is absolutely completely cooked. And then the other 2 games that you put up a bunch of runs and did great stuff was against the Pirates, who aren't good. Like, you faced 2 series against good teams. You lost both of them. And the Tigers completely shut you down until yesterday when you finally scored some runs late in the game off Tyler Holton. You had scored 2 runs in the first 2 games. So I just don't think it makes a big difference. They're still striking out at a ridiculous rate because we know this lineup's going to strike out a million times. So, yeah, I think this thing has been completely overblown. But we'll see how the season plays out again. If Volpe hits 25-plus home runs this year, I might change my tune.
I mean, there's definitely been at least a somewhat uptick. How much is it, with the small sample size? I don't know. But, like, Adley Rutschman came out swinging. He's got one of those bats.
True.
The Volpe and the other one on the Yankees there, who's Jazz Chisholm. Those are the 2 that, like, okay, you clearly look like you're getting a big boost from this. Just like the launch angle they're getting is not something that.
Listen, Volpe will be my barometer for this on the season. Okay, if he hits 27 home runs this year, I'm going to be like, okay, there's something to this. But he's slowed way down since the Brewer series.
I guess.
Trust me, he's on my fantasy team.
Well, I think pitchers, I mean, no matter what, let's say it is as bad as everyone says with the Torpedo Bats. Pitchers would adapt no matter what. Even if the MLB said, like, well, we're not changing the rules at all, everyone can have the torpedo bat, and I assume at that point everyone would have a torpedo bat.
Mm-hmm.
If everyone's got them, why would I be the odd man out? Because of my moral compass? No.
Yeah, it's just what you're comfortable with, probably.
Yeah. And well, I assume, yes, some people won't because of, like, maybe the weight change and all that stuff. But like the pitchers would adapt to try and get far more ground balls if there is contact, and probably try to develop more swing and miss stuff.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say swing and miss, but probably just run action, trying to throw more stuff that's going to run away against the righty. Because they take some of the weight at the end of the bat, so the end of the bat's even smaller and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, you're going to probably a lot more two-seam fastballs, stuff like that, to try and run away from the right-hander.
Probably
trying to hit the end of bats instead. Yeah. So yeah,
but they will change their style, the pitches they throw, maybe even some velocity in some cases to get a little more pinpoint with it. Yeah. But the pitches would adapt.
No, for sure. For sure. All right. So my initial thoughts there on the big controversy of the torpedo bats. With that, let's turn it over to you to get us started here with the Sox.
Oh, yeah.
Not a great series so far here against Toronto.
No. It's been we're about 2 weeks here.
Yep.
And it's been very up and down. But the problems I've seen are they don't bother me too much yet. Mm-hmm. You know, we're still having this exact same situation of lacking the big hit in a big situation come in June and July. We're like, all right, we have a bunch of guys who
can't hit with men on base.
Yeah, who fold in big situations, and that's not great. But I don't think that's what they all are. Mm-hmm. You know, there's been some really good things. Garrett Crochet has looked really good. For the most part, actually, the pitching staff has done their job. Mm-hmm. Shaky. You know, I don't like what I've seen from Walker Buehler for the most part so far. You know, Richard Fitz really, really pitches on the edge, but for the most part, he's actually done okay. But it's one of those things where, like, it kind of feels like a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
But I'm not that worried about the pitching staff because Bello hasn't pitched. Cutter Crawford hasn't pitched. Gio Ledo hasn't pitched. Patrick Sandoval has not pitched. Mm-hmm. And they feel that because they have a bunch of guys waiting in the wings, that they can even trade away Quinn Priester for backup guys. They feel in the building that the pitching is good enough and there's more guys that can patch up what isn't good enough. Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with that. The other side on the hitting, I'm actually very excited. This team is very young. You know, when they are hitting, they look very good. Wilyer Abreu is the best player in baseball. And in my mind, I just keep thinking every time he gets a big hit, when I called him out at the very beginning of last season, when I was like, who the hell is Wilyer Abreu and why do I care? Mm-hmm. I care. But like also Jarren Duran has not contributed at all to this offense yet. So there's still another level here. Ceddanne Rafaela has not really contributed much and taken that next step yet from what I've seen this season. Like there is so much more. Tristan Casas has not really contributed at all yet to this offense. Like Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony aren't even here yet. Masataka Yoshida has a possibility if someone gets injured. Like there is depth and there is a lot that can be done here if it's not quite working. Mm-hmm.
You know, other than the last two games with Toronto where no one hit, before that, Duran had a game where maybe it was the first one of the Toronto series actually, or maybe it was the last one of the Cardinals, where he hit the ball hard a bunch of times. He just kind of was unlucky. So I don't even think Duran's struggling that much. Now, no one has hit the last two games. It's also been 28 degrees at night in Fenway. Yeah. So, you know, you got to take that with a grain of salt, guys. It has been freezing cold the last 3 to 4 days.
Yes. So. And then the Canadian team has handled the cold slightly better than the American team. So,
yeah.
Okay. I guess. But
it's not like they're hitting either, really.
Sure. But like with the Jarren Duran thing, like you're right. He has actually, when he's made contact, hit the ball pretty hard. I even think he was kind of doing that in the Texas series. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part he has. You know, he's maybe the strikeouts are a little high right now because he's chasing the high fastball a lot.
Yeah.
But we're in April. There will be adjustments. Like look at Rafi Devers. Oh my Lord, literally the worst start in baseball history. Mm-hmm. A very small, slight adjustment, and he's back to his normal self as if it never happened. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think they'll be really good, actually, at this point. I am very excited about this team right now because I don't have a lot of faith in the Yankees. I don't have too much faith in the Orioles, and I hella don't have faith in the division-leading Toronto Blue Jays right now.
Thank you. The Jays are in first place. I thought they were.
Yeah. I mean, we're only 2 games back.
No, I know.
And
Everyone's kind of close.
And the Yankees are half game back.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tampa was in first at one point. Jays have been in first. The Yankees have been in first. So I think 3 different teams have been in first at one point. But, yeah, no, I mean, you don't have a lot of faith in the Yankees with those Torpedo Bats?
I mean, if the Torpedo Bats are as bad as they could be, then yeah, sure, I'll have some faith. But, like, it's also just kind of Max Fried.
Oh, I know. On the pitching staff for the most part? I know.
Which he's been fantastic at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he's been great.
Is Gill supposed to come back this season or no?
I assume, yeah.
Okay.
I assume,
but
yeah.
it's super late still, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, like I don't think it's till like
that.
the dog days of summer. And obviously we know Garrett Cole's not going to be back at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not that concerned about the Sox. I'll be honest with you. Like really not. Considering all that we have waiting in the wings for the pitching staff. I'm not a fan of Cassis. I already told you that if they picked up the phone right now and called the Marlins for Sandy Alcantara, I'd be totally cool with sending Cassis in that trade. Like I am just not a Tristan fan. I think we love him so much. He had he went off for like 2.5 months.
I mean, I don't love him.
He had a 2.5 month period where he was awesome. Other than that, he's never been that great. And he got injured last year. I would like to trade him now because I just think if he has another so-so season, then he's not worth that much anymore. Whereas right now he's worth a good amount. And we can find at bats for other people. I mean, I don't know. You can teach Devers how to play first, or you could teach Yoshida maybe how to play first.
I don't know.
I bet Yoshida could play first.
Maybe Yoshida.
Yeah. Then you can. And then we'd have a spot for Roman Anthony.
I'd probably rather try to teach Bregman first and then just put Devers back out there.
No, Bregman's too good defensively. I don't want to sacrifice him there at third. He's already made like 5 plays this season that I'm like, if that was Raffy, there's no way. There's no way.
Sure. But that's at least he could, who would then really learn first?
I'm sure Masataka could.
That'd be, I realized we did this with Kyle Schwarber, literally late season, and he's a absolute defensive, one of the worst defensive players maybe in the history of baseball, actually. But you can't just keep doing that. You can't, I know the Dodgers and Phillies kind of have this philosophy of just get a bunch of bats. We'll figure out where they fit in the field later. First base, catcher's the other one. I know pitcher, but the actual offensive positions, catcher and first base are not easy to learn, especially not on the fly.
Yoshida's got plenty of time to learn it while he's rehabbing.
I guess.
I'd make that call right now. Masataka, you want to learn first?
Do you want to get back in the majors this season?
Do you want to actually have regular at-bats? Because right now, there's just not a ton of at-bats for him.
He's so small, though.
Masataka?
First basemen are big guys.
Devers isn't that big.
But he's not...
He's not that tall.
Was he, 5'10"?
I don't know.
But he's not...
I have small. I used to have more trust that Yoshida could do it than Devers.
I guess.
Also, I think Devers would complain again.
You just told me I have to sit. Now you want me to learn
you want me
the
to
field
learn,
again?
Learn something new in the field? But I don't know. Just a thought there.
Wait a minute. How many?
Maybe they move somebody else. I don't know. But
we have 2 catchers that can hit. I realize one's injured right now. Why can't one of them learn first base?
One of them probably could.
Connor Wong. Here's the thing. I think usually catchers can also naturally play first base because that's usually their secondary position if they have one.
Yeah.
Narvaez looks fantastic. I don't want that guy to miss any at-bats.
Oh, Carlos?
Yeah.
I know. He has looked offensively.
Yeah.
He
but I prefer him to stay as the catcher, though, because he's a great defensive catcher.
Okay.
At least allegedly.
Then you have Connor play first?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Which you cannot do while Tristan is here. But if they were to trade Tristan, I would love for them to be that aggressive. Listen, the Marlins punt on seasons before the year even begins, okay? They've already said they're going to trade Sandy. Just beat the Yankees to the punch. If the Yankees could even trade for him, we have had this discussion. Does New York even have the... But it's the Marlins. If New York was just like, you know what? Here's a bunch of cash consideration. They'd be like, okay.
If Jeter
we'll take your 87th prospect in your system because we don't care.
If Jeter was still there, I'd be a little more concerned of the Yankees because they'll get him a discount. Mm-hmm. Do some collusion there. But I don't...
I don't know.
I said I'm not.
I don't know if there's a sports franchise that cares less than the Marlins. Even the A's, because I think the minute the A's go to Vegas, they'll at least care.
Man.
I don't
franchise.
I don't think they give a single you know what.
The Rockies.
They're up there though too. That's a good point. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, all right. I'll go with the Rockies for now.
Okay.
I don't want to just go and try to think across the entire sports spectrum right now for something like that.
No, I get you.
I also said I told you I don't like the philosophy of trying to make a move just to beat someone else to the punch. Mm-hmm. And like the team doesn't seem to be too concerned with the idea of we need another starter. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, like Cutter hasn't pitched yet. Not that I'm like, oh, that guy's gonna, but he's decent. He has shown he can at the major league level, and that is another option. Bello, I know you're not high about him, but like he's had some good starts.
Well, yeah, to me, he's a good 3.
Sure, and like he can fill out this rotation, so we don't have Dick Fitz and that other one that got lit up.
Oh crap! What's his name?
Saying he got lit up is unfair. No, none of them have really got lit up yet, but Walker Buehler has not been good.
Walker kind of got a little lit up.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't really have faith in him.
Oh my gosh. I hated everything about that one.
But I kind of saw it as like, this is a risk anyway. Listen, he's one of these guys that like,
I know, but when the Dodgers just let him walk out the door and didn't even try, like, I don't know. I thought that should tell you everything you needed to know.
Maybe.
But listen, we have backup plans. We got 4 guys who all can start.
That's what I mean.
Who are going to be coming back here. So I get it. It's fine.
Like Lucas Giolito still has not pitched. Mm-hmm. That was our ace.
Oh God.
That was our big ace move. Still has not pitched.
No, I know. All right. Moving on from the baseball talk with the draft around the corner. We'll at least talk the big 3. But I'm going to start with Shedeur Sanders. Also, I'm going to start with just a philosophy here, guys. Once we get this close to the draft, some of the things that you see in the media, some of the things that come out, it's a lot of lies. Like I always feel like when it comes draft time, I have the edge because I watch so much college. Once we get to this point, you have particular teams who know they can't move up, that sometimes they want to leak stuff. They want to say things like it's a lot of misinformation this time of year once we get closer to the draft because they're hoping some guys can fall or they're hoping somebody takes somebody else when they don't think they're that good or all this kind of stuff. It's a lot of nonsense, right? Now, obviously, Shedeur Sanders has a big personality. That is true. He's a bit of a reality show. But the work ethic has never been a question. Now, the physical characteristics, he is not an A-plus prospect. But he was asked to do a lot at Colorado. Like, if he didn't play well, they weren't going to win games. So he has always had a lot on his plate. He has not been able to just coast off talent or anything around the talent around him. But, I mean, he will be a polarizing player, and it will be interesting. I don't know where he's going to go. I could see the Giants passing on him. It seems the Titans are going to take Cam Ward. I get it. With the number 1 overall pick, Cam is the more special physical athlete and someone you would want to take number 1 overall, even though he has a high bust potential, because simply the ceiling is way higher. I think when it comes to Shedeur, if the Giants don't take him, keep your eye on the Raiders because multiple years without a quarterback, uninteresting last year. I know they signed Geno, but Tom's there. Tom has a relationship with Dion. The work ethic for Shedeur is up there. I don't think the lack of pure physical, like off the chart gifts is going to discourage someone like Tom Brady, who cares more about the up, from the neck up stuff. And, the other thing is people are like, well, Tom's going to be all about winning. He'll just care about winning a Super Bowl. Like, maybe Tom's a competitive guy, but are we sure the way he's competing as an executive is going to be the same as the way it was on the field? Because we've seen this when guys move up in the executive booth. Is it about winning a Super Bowl? I mean, he's football-wise pretty smart. Like, you got Justin Herbert in the division. You got the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure he knows it's a long way away from being a Super Bowl. Maybe he cares more about making money, being viable, and being interesting and winning in that aspect of the executive market than just on the field stuff. So, it depends how much power Tom has in the building. And again, this comes down to the Giants because the Giants will have the pick ahead of the Raiders. And obviously, if they want to draft Shador, they're not going to trade out of that spot. But if the Giants don't, I think the Raiders are very much in play and could make this happen. There's a lot of things here that make me think, so uninteresting last year at the quarterback position. Tom's there. He's got a relationship with Sanders, all that kind of stuff. So I would keep my eye on that one. I'm going to let this go to you before we talk about Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or any of that. But
I don't know what Tom Brady's philosophy is going to be. I guess I could see him be like, well, we got to make money first. Mm-hmm. The Raiders brand is not what it used to be.
No.
The move to Vegas has, although I'm sure
it's been very profitable though.
I'm sure it has, but no one cares.
Yeah, I mean, are you making money because it's a tourist location to go watch their team, or are you making money because they care about you?
Yeah.
It's a little 50-50. Like, it's 50-50. It's not as bad as the damn Chargers.
I don't think it's 50.
They do have fans in their stadium.
I would say it's more like 45-55.
Okay.
Tourism.
Okay.
55. Because, if you look at the other Vegas team, the Golden Knights, they are rampant, insane fans. Mm-hmm. And it's just not there for the Raiders. Mm-hmm. I wondered how much they're like, I'm sure every time a team moves, they're kind of hoping we hope some of those fans stick with us a little bit. And because, you don't have anything else moving in there. Mm-hmm. So what else are you going to watch? And I think a lot of Raiders fans did keep their allegiance to their team. Mm-hmm. But it's Oakland and they're Oakland people.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not all flying out to Vegas every weekend to go support their team.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure they can't.
Yeah. There's a reason they moved out of Oakland.
So you need to have a it needs to be a more Vegas brand. Even if you're okay, most of our fans are kind of tourists. Mm-hmm. Let's assuming I'm right, it's 55-45. Mm-hmm. Maybe play that up. Give everyone and their mother a reason to come and look at this team. Mm-hmm. Whether it be because they're that entertaining, the athletes are that interesting, or you're that good. I'm sure they prefer that good, but that's kind of an unrealistic expectation considering how bad it's been the past couple of years. Mm-hmm. And nor do I think Geno Smith or any of these rookie quarterbacks are going to get you to that next level. So I could see that. I think Tom Brady's a smart guy. Mm-hmm. I think he thinks several steps ahead. But I don't know what the Raiders are really going to draft with right now. I don't know how much they're looking at QB, and I could see them punting because I think, especially how much does Pete Carroll have a say? And I know he loves Geno, and I know he'll at least want to be like, well, Geno's definitely going to be our starter, even if we draft a guy. We'd like the guy to sit, and I don't know if Sanders and the Sanders family will like something like that.
See,
especially sitting behind Geno.
See, I disagree. I think Dion, everybody makes it out like Dion is some new school, just all about his kids getting everything and all this kind of stuff. Dion, for all the social media and the personality and all that, when you looked at the way he ran his football team and the practices and stuff like that, he's very old school. I actually don't think. And again, him not wanting his kids to go to some of the places that they could go. If you could go to the Raiders, you could go to Pete Carroll. We know Pete knows what he's doing. I had my issues with him at the end of Seattle. I thought that the times had changed a little past them, but he's not going to be a dumpster fire. He knows what he's doing. Also, the other thing is Pete Carroll has a long history of being able to work with big personalities and reality television show stars.
I'm not saying they're I don't want to work with Pete.
I forgot to put that in the video part. Pete's got a background and a history of being able to handle high personality, high drama guys.
I remember Russ.
If anything, he kind of likes them, honestly.
Oh, maybe. I could see that. Well, until they get to the Russell Wilson level.
Russell got weird.
Yeah.
It's not just drama with Russ. He's just a weirdo.
But I'm not saying we don't want to work with Pete. I think it's more of Pete will love Geno.
No, I get you.
He's not going to Geno will be our starter no matter what until he loses the job.
Yeah, but I
don't know if Shador and the Sanders family would be no. I mean, we are better than Geno today, and we know it.
I mean, Shador maybe, but I'm pretty sure. I think Dion. The fact that Dion seemed as on this as he did from the early on, be I don't want them playing for this team or that team or blah blah, tells me I think Dion is thinking big picture. So I think he would sit his son down and be like, this is not that bad. If anything, this is a better case scenario.
Listen,
you go to a place that is not a dumpster fire, as bad as it's kind of been. Like, some of the dysfunction was thrust upon the Raiders because of what John Gruden did. Like, they were getting better.
Yeah.
They were viable again. And then John, everything blew up because of the email and they had to fire him.
It wasn't even John's fault. Well, I guess it's John's fault because you said that email.
He sent that email, bro.
But it wasn't his fault that it was found.
No, it wasn't. But he's like, listen, Pete knows what he's doing. You got Tom as one of the executives now. That can't be a bad thing. But I do think the other thing is people like, can you win a Super Bowl with? I'm not sure that is Tom's objective. I'm really not anymore. We've only ever seen him compete on the field. He likes winning, but he might be competing on it. Like, I don't know what winning is to him at an executive level.
Yeah.
And as a football guy, you'd think that he'd be smart enough to be like, listen, we're probably not winning a Super Bowl for a long time. As long as Andy's in the division and Jim Harbaugh's in the division with that quarterback, like, the odds that we're winning a Super Bowl are pretty astronomically low. Like, I got to win on a different field here. And that is brand, money, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And again, winning comes with some of that because you can't be 4-13 and make a lot of money and have a good brand. But listen, if they just bring back the Raider swag, Vegas makes them a ton of money, and they can be viable. They can be 9-8. They can be 10-7. They can be competing to at least make the playoffs. That's going to be a home run for Tom. And it's going to make him look very good because they've been bad for a while.
Oh yeah, they've been bad for a long time. I mean, I definitely know that these owners compete with each other on a different level, on a different spectrum of, like, we made the most money, we were the most profitable,
we're the most talked about.
Yeah, we have the highest fan attendance rate, we sell the most jerseys, this, that, and the other thing. I'm sure they absolutely compete with each other, but like, oh, you won the Super Bowl and yet we were more profitable. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But like, one of the most foolproof ways to make money in sports is a win.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And that's why I said it's like on the field will still matter. They have to be competitive. They can't be like they were last year. But,
But I could also actually see Tom Brady being the exact opposite. He will come into the executive room and say, the only thing that matters is our record. We can lose money, but as long as we have trophies coming in and championships, that's all that matters. Maybe. I could see Tom also being that guy. I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, I know. I could see it too.
I have no reason to believe it other than who he is as a person.
Maybe he literally cannot see beyond just competing on the field.
I could see that.
Wins and losses. Maybe.
But I'm not. I could see the other end of the spectrum as well.
Whereas he's like, I've already conquered this. I'm competing on a different level now.
Yeah, because he is just an extremely competitive guy.
Yeah.
Where like I will compete at anything and everything, and I will be better than you at what you do. Mm-hmm. So I could absolutely see that I'm the executive now, and the way we win is to be the most profitable.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And just most talked about,
sure.
Most interesting, bring back the brand, bring back everything. All right. Quickly, Travis and Abdul. I don't want Travis here. I've said that a million times. We already have a corner. But for both of them, I do have. So now comes the time where, like I said, it's a lot of lies before we go into the draft. A lot of nuggets of misinformation being thrown out because teams want guys to drop or they want someone to take somebody that they don't think is very good. Or this happens all the time. One of the things is, Travis. There's physical questions with Abdul and Travis, not on their athleticism, but with Travis, he's kind of small, really skinny. Abdul, some people question, does he play with a lot of strength? Now, to me, there was a pass rusher taken, I think 2 years ago. I think it was Tyrese Wilson out of Texas Tech, who was athletic, kind of bendy, but people questioned, like, physically, was he strong enough to be that good? And he hasn't been that great. So it's a real thing. But when we have physical questions about a position, not on the athleticism, like we know they're athletic, but Malik Neighbors, there was some talk like, does he play with a strength at all? Well, he played in the SEC against the best competition all the time, and he was wide open all the time. I don't think it's a problem. When you have a guy who's playing at the top level of college, I think these little nitpicking things become less of a big deal. Like, ooh, maybe Abdul's not quite as strong as we want. Well, he's super bendy as an athlete, and he can flip on a dime. His athleticism is great, and he's explosive. And he's doing it at Penn State that plays very good competition. He's going against other NFL guys all the time. I don't think it's a big problem. Travis Hunter. Well, he lined up on the best wide receiver all the time. He's been super productive everywhere he goes. And he's a corner. So maybe he's not the strongest. Okay. Well, then if you go play A.J. Brown one game, maybe don't put Travis Hunter on him one-on-one. But he probably can line up on Jamar Chase. He can probably line up on Malik Neighbors. He could probably line, you know what I mean? So I feel like both of these are some things where we're kind of nitpicking a little bit. And I get why we do it. The strength thing obviously worked out with Tyrese Wilson. The scouts who doubted him were right. But again, if you're going to have a guy who's playing at the highest level of the sport in college and doing great and being productive, I'm less concerned about the little tiny nitpicking stuff. So right. I don't know if Eddie.
I don't watch college football. So
no, I know you don't.
I usually gauge these guys by word of mouth. Getting the opinions of people I trust on the matter. And sometimes that could be you, you know, because you watch the college footy. But also like, you know, combine stuff and just kind of watching just raw replays and just stuff like that from highlights. And, you know, you can, you know, you don't get the whole story, but you can see a lot of like, all right, I can see the physical attribute here. I can see the physicality here. I can see where they're lacking here, speed or something like that. Travis Hunter. I think he'll be a fantastic corner in the NFL for somebody else.
Yes, no, I don't want him. We don't need a corner.
There was a rumor. Well, I don't want to call it a rumor because who it came from, but Adam Schefter said he's going to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns will take him, I think, second or third overall?
Yeah.
Whatever pick they have. That I don't want that. I want the Patriots to pass on him because I want to see the absolute horror show that'll come online from that. But also, just on a serious note, I don't think he'll be. Let's assume a team even wants to pick him to be a wide receiver.
I'm looking at the NFL.
Like the Patriots would do. If they were to draft him, he would not be our number one. We have Christian Gonzalez. Like, okay, that's fine. You know, Christian Gonzalez will be maybe against the AJ Brown, the more physical receivers.
Yeah, Browns are number 2, Giants 3, us
4. Okay, 4. It's like, oh, that'd be a good 1-2 punch of Gonzalez against the physical receivers, and then Travis Hunter can be against maybe the more speedy receivers, the more athletic receivers. We got Carlton Davis. We don't care anymore. And also, I saw like his I saw some highlights. Yeah, I don't think he'll be a very good wide receiver, even if he tries to be in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
He doesn't run good routes.
He's also not that tall.
I mean, you can overcome that with good route running.
You can,
and I don't think he does. I saw some from camp when he's going off the line, or the pro day, whatever they do.
Yeah,
I was laughing.
Yeah, I
was like, come on, Patriots fans want this. Oh, he'll be a dual threat. He can play both sides of the ball. No. That doesn't work in the NFL. You can have like the Marcus Jones where like, okay, 1 or 2 plays every other week, he gets put in the offense. Sometimes just as a distraction. Look, Marcus Jones is on the field. Oh, the ball went to the other side. Yeah. Stuff like that. Like he is not, he's not an NFL wide receiver and he won't be. I don't want anything to do with him. No reason to have him on corner. Well, no, he's not good enough to be a wide receiver.
I don't want anything to do with him either. And I don't think he's going to be a great wide receiver.
We don't coach receivers.
That too.
We can't do it. And you want to coach this guy? No.
Yeah.
No.
The Abdul Carter one, when I'm talking about lies coming out in the draft, this is like the prototype. Because if you look at the board here, because the quarterback in Shador is somewhat polarizing and not considered an A prospect, so, there's a million places where he could go, which means it changes where Abdul goes. So if you're the Pats or the Jags or the Raiders and you want Abdul Carter, like these are the kind of things that get thrown out there sometimes. So they're hoping, like, I want the Giants to take Shador. Like, I want Abdul Carter. I view him as the best player in the draft overall. So if I could get him at 4 or 5, that to me, that's a steal. So I just want to throw that out there with Abdul. As I'm looking at this draft order, like that is the prototypical time of when teams start throwing out just lies.
Well,
or misinformation. They're saying they care about things more than they actually do.
when I saw the Adam Schefter report about Travis Hunter, I was like, that's strange. I would not necessarily. I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a terrible pick for the Browns, but like that's not really where I thought they were gonna look. But I guess, and I thought like maybe, I've always wondered like, these reporters. I have no idea what team Adam Schefter loved as a kid growing up. He's really good at his job to the point where I have no idea where his allegiances lie. And like some reporters said, like, oh, when I got into the business, like slowly my allegiances just fell away and I don't really have a team anymore. And maybe Adam's like that. But like if you really want to put your tinfoil hats on, like they could really have some allegiances deep down and they'll put some false information out there just to screw with some teams.
I know, right? It's funny.
I do that.
As everybody thinks that like it doesn't affect these front offices of the owners. It absolutely does. Especially the owners. Especially the owners. And especially if they live in a place where the fans are rabid and the talk radio matters. Like I've heard the stories. Like they'll be listening to talk radio on their way into the building sometimes. All the time.
Well, who's is it David Tepper?
Yes.
For the Panthers?
Yes.
He saw a sign outside of a restaurant.
Yeah.
Stopped his car. Because it was like something about David Tepper, like, is telling him to do better in some form with the team. He stopped his car, went into the restaurant, and complained.
Yes, I remember
that. Wow.
I know.
Like, I listen. You got passion for what you're doing here, son. Clearly, but like you're missing the point here.
No, I know. But I think people sometimes think this stuff doesn't matter. I'm telling you, these people have ears more than you realize.
Oh, and they're all trying to figure out what each other's doing.
That's it.
Where are you going in the pick? Like you're picking ahead of me. I would love to know what you're doing. That'll really help me to know what I'm doing.
Yes.
If I know what you're picking. That's why if I had the first overall pick, I'm telling no one.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling everyone the wrong thing. We're picking this guy and we know it, but I'm telling him the exact opposite. We know we're picking a QB. We're going defense. Screw up everybody.
No, I know. So also
I have nothing to say about Abdul Carter.
If the Giants pass on Shador, then you have the Pats and the Jags, who both will not be taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
So then there's the Raiders. So that's what I'm saying, guys. If the Giants don't take Shador, I think he's going to go to the Raiders. I really do.
What's the Giants quarterback situation? Russell Wilson and who's the other one?
Jameis Winston.
Oh, Jameis. That would be the biggest personality room
I know,
you've
right?
ever seen on earth.
Here's the other thing with the Giants, right? They didn't fire Dable on the GM last year because honestly, I think the owner's just over it and didn't want to have to go through another search because it's a pain in the ass. But like, if you're not that confident in them, why would you take a young quarterback? Like if you're probably thinking we're going to end up firing them this year anyway, like why would you do it? Just take the best player available.
Or the GM's perspective.
Well, for the owner.
The owner?
Now the GM is in charge, so the GM's going to do what the GM wants to do. But
well, I mean, the owner could say like, "Listen, we're not doing that no matter what. Or
yeah,
I'm
that's
firing
true.
you on the spot."
Okay, good. But like, if I was the owner, if I just didn't fire them because I know I'm going to suck next year anyway, and I don't want to have to go through the hassle of a coaching like a search, but I'm not that confident in them. Like, why would I take a young quarterback? So I can have the coach that I'm probably going to fire soon and the GM work with him that I'm also probably going to fire soon. Like,
well,
what's the point? Take Abdul Carter.
I mean, I often wonder what the hell the Mara family does.
I don't know.
Like that franchise is not well run.
No.
But from the GM's perspective, because you got to know that like your job is like you're on thin ice, and there's very little you can really do about it to actually turn that team around. I personally would have gone like, hey, Mr. Mara, like we should really draft a young quarterback here, and for the future, because you at least, if you're the GM, you have that excuse of he's a rookie quarterback and this team sucks. What do you expect? Because the owner could then turn that around. It's like, why does this team suck, Mr. GM? Who built this team? But if you want to at least have the excuse of like, listen, dude, what did you expect this year from this young QB with this no team around him? We need more time.
I'll be honest. I actually don't think the Giants are as far away as their record is.
I mean, they have a.
If you got a decent quarterback, and they do have a left tackle. They do have Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
they have some guys on the defensive front.
You need more line.
You definitely need more offensive line. I get that. But you have your left tackle. You have a weapon at wide receiver.
I actually do not understand the philosophy of like, let's just get the QB and we'll figure everything else out later. Like, you're gonna kill that man.
Oh no, I'm not on that board at all.
Like you're gonna hurt him, and you're gonna ruin his development. Like, do you think? Look at Mac Jones. He could not get anywhere. He couldn't learn anything, partly because his line sucked. You can argue like, oh well, that was his ceiling. I saw his rookie year. It's not. He just couldn't learn anything because he was constantly afraid for his life. Like you can't learn in that situation. Now, if you're like actually a little more athletic, where you can like move the pocket, save yourself a little bit more, maybe you could learn a thing or two. But you gotta at least make it possible for the guy you have. Like that's why I'm not like the Zach Wilson for like the Jets. That was silly. He just got eaten alive every play because his line sucked and he didn't really have much to go with the ball. Like if you can't help your QB, don't expect him to learn anything. That's why I don't get the philosophy of like, let's get the QB as fast as possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like if you have a hole, if your defense is great, if you have weapons, if the line is good, one, you'll probably actually win games anyway with a Geno Smith, something like that. And then you can just like, well, we're a quarterback away. Let's just find that guy, which I know it's hard to do if you're not have a great pick. It's the veteran guys rarely come in and take you to the Super Bowl. Like the Matt Stafford situation is a very rare thing. It's not normal. But I still think you should make a team so you don't kill all these quarterbacks. Where would the Browns be if they actually like took their time with Drake May? Help Drake May with the team. I don't think the Browns would have ever actually figured it out because they're the Browns. But the idea still stands of like, you know, if you stuck with your
Baker.
What did I say?
You said Drake May.
Baker May.
Yeah.
Not Drake May. Baker May. If they stuck with Baker Mayfield, maybe you're not in the situation where you have a guy that
sucks and is making
sucks. Yeah.
It's a fully guaranteed contract.
And he's making so much money.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I get you. Quickly, let's move on to our other football topic, the Brock Purdy contract extension talk. I don't really know where it's going. I'm hearing a lot of different stuff. What is your take here? I mean, my take has always been, why do we have to rush? I would just let it play out as long as possible, especially after the season they had. Now, it was not all Brock's fault. I think Kyle needs to adapt the offense more. But also, Purdy's been banged up. Like, he keeps getting banged up, so you have injury concerns. And, you know, the turnovers. I've said this a million times. Some people, life's not fair. Some people are allowed to turn the ball over a little bit. It's okay because they can do things that other people cannot. Josh Allen is allowed. I will give him a leash to turn the ball over a little more. Matt Stafford has a bit more of a leash. Brock Purdy does not. You do not have a leash to be throwing the ball to the other team because you can't do special things. No, he's good. I'm not saying he's not good, but you have to be Drew Brees. Drew Brees didn't turn the football over. Brett Favre did, but Brett Favre could do more special things than Drew Brees did. Like, you got to be playing like Drew Brees. So turn the ball over a little bit too much for my liking. We have the injury stuff. You're not that big. He's good. I think he's good. I'd pay him. I'd give him a contract extension. I'd pay him $35 million. 40 would be a lot for me. I would have problems. But right now I'm hearing talks about they want 50. It seemed San Francisco talked 2 months ago as if he was going to get it, but he hasn't gotten it yet. Just like last year, man, the Niners are having a weird offseason, and that usually doesn't mean you have a good regular season. I don't know what to make of this situation right now.
I mean, I sat in this seat and said the same thing. I'm like, you know, I think the 49ers know it's not going to be that good next year. And they're, you know, I'll give them at least the benefit of the doubt that they're looking maybe a couple steps ahead, maybe a couple years ahead. And I assume the Brock Purdy contract in some form is a part of that plan. But personally, I would be like, Brock, I'm going to call you next year. Because going back to literally minutes ago, he doesn't have that team anymore. Let's not bet it all on him. Because, what's his line going to be? I don't know. What's the defense going to be? I don't know, and that'll put more pressure on him. Debo was a shell of himself last year, but, he's still a body. And, he's still got eyes because his name is Debo Samuel.
I mean,
especially after Ayuk went down. And then, there's talks of, maybe Ayuk.
What's Ayuk going to be?
Yeah, I don't know. Where's Ayuk going to be next year? I don't know. I like Kittle still a lot. I think he still had a lot to give last year. But, a guy of his size and his position can fall off in a snap. I actually don't like that they're going with CMC still. I would have rather they kept Mason and Garendo and gone with those two guys. Those two guys are probably, I think, are still cheaper. They should be cheaper than a CMC. And CMC gets injured all the time. So I wouldn't pay Brock today. And also, not to say I wouldn't pay him at all. I think he could be the guy. But I wouldn't pay him today, knowing that it could be terrible tomorrow. And then the day after, you can be like, that sucked, Brock. Here's 30.
Yeah, I don't understand where this came in that all of a sudden we got a rush to do this stuff. Is it just because the cap gets more expensive?
Well, I assume it's these agents being like, everyone else has it. You need to get my guy signed here, or we're going to be disgruntled.
What are you going to do? Hold out? Some guys can hold out. Trent Williams can hold out. Okay? Lamar threatened it for a bit. And I was like, you know what? He is special enough at least. Like Brock Purdy, what's your value on the open market?
He's a cornhusker.
You're really good for this team, this coach, and this offense. Does the rest of the league going to view you the same way that Kyle does in this organization? I kind of don't think so.
I think the Dolphins would love a guy like him.
They already paid to us, so it doesn't matter.
But he would thrive in that offense.
He would. Maybe he would have. I kind of feel like that the pieces are falling apart there in Miami. I actually think Miami has a chance to be one of the worst teams in the league next year.
I agree with that.
I think they're going to be just god awful.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to make of this situation. The Niners are once again sort of befuddling me for the second off season in a row. I just wouldn't do it. I'd tell Brock, bro, you've been banged up twice. It was bad last year. It wasn't your fault completely, but we don't know what this team's going to look like. We need more health from you. We need a season with a second season where you're not on an all-star team and see how you handle it. And you turn the ball over too damn much. So I don't understand why we always have to rush to this stuff. I would just let it play out, but whatever. All right, with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a little bit of hockey talk, and then we'll go through our care and don't care to start the MLB season. And our Darwin, as always, stick with us, guys.
All right, we're back for everyone's favorite, including Dom's, hockey. There was an historical event that occurred this week, something that nobody thought was possible until a couple years ago. We have a new all-time NHL goal scorer. It was Alex Ovechkin. He did it. He finally did it. He is officially the number one goal scorer in the world. Just to put it into perspective a little bit, and some of the fun facts before I get into being a hater about it, because I'm going to be. 895 goals is the new record. He did it in, fun fact, 1,487 games, beating the previous record of 894 goals, scored in 1,487 games. It took him the exact same amount of games. That's actually hilarious. That's a wild stat. That's actually cool. That's very funny. But why am I going to be a hater about it? Why is this a story? I mean, obviously it's the story, a record no one thought was possible is broken. All that's good stuff. I've come around on Alex, but there's still some things deep in my heart that bother me about Alex Ovechkin. I look at Alex Ovechkin and I still see the same old guy that I used to really annoy me back in the day. The guy that really only cared about one thing and one thing only. And that's breaking records by scoring goals. He did it. I really point to his 2013-2014 season where he was the leading goal scorer in the NHL, 51 goals, and he was also, I mean, it didn't end that way, but he was also for the entire year leading the whole league in the very worst plus minus. 51 goals, minus 35 on the year. And I get it. As NHL fans, we have evolved past plus minus. We don't care about plus minus. That is a bygone era stat. For the most part, yes. However, the outlier and why it's still somewhat relevant is for situations exactly like that. For when you look at a player, how do you score 51 goals? Listen, 25 of those were on the power play. That's not fair. Half of them were on the power play. You don't get a plus for a goal on the power play. It's still insane that you score 26 even strength goals and you have a minus 35. That's insane. That's old Alex. That's old Alex Ovechkin. He wouldn't play like that, you know. He never, like, he's changed. He's gotten older. He's evolved, and stuff like that. Listen. He's aged. He's won his cup. He's become the more captain that he, you know, that the Washington Capitals deserve, an actual captain. But in the back of my head, you know, and this is only for the social media witnesses, but like, this is what Alex Ovechkin is to me. You see that guy just sliding into frame? Oh, this was a meme that went around way back when. It's been very viral on NHL social media spaces of Alex Ovechkin, you know, the whole joke of the controller dies because Alex Ovechkin didn't care about defense. Why would he put his effort into playing defense? You can't score goals on that end of the ice. Hence why he ends the year with 51 goals and a minus 35. And I get it. Oh, the Capitals weren't that good this year. Still, if you know hockey, 26 even strength goals and you have a minus 30. All right. If we're going to be done, that's the hater part of it. Alex Ovechkin, of course, he's going to break a record when he's been a selfish player basically his whole career. That's me being the hater. I'll be nice for a second. This is one of those things that I talk about. You know, there's a lot of players that you dislike when you're younger, and then you and the player ages, and they get a lot more mature. Alex is not quite the player he used to be, and I will have to admit that, at least. You know, we should never forget that this record is partly broken because, yeah, he was a selfish player for a very long time that only cared about padding his own stats, getting as many goals as possible. But he eventually, you know, he did get called out by his coach, his team, his fans, and he kind of realized that, like, I'm wearing a C on my chest. I should probably try and be a captain. And yes, he grew a little bit. He back checks now. He plays a little defense. He's not very good at it, but he's a sniper. So, like, you know, can I be mad at David Pastrnak because he's not a good defensive player? I guess I can't. Mm-hmm. But he tries now. And, you know, he won his cup.
It's about the effort.
It is. And he puts in the effort now. It took him like 15 years to do it. You know, not that he didn't compete in the playoffs, but it was kind of like, you know, these stats don't matter as much. You kind of saw in his younger years, he didn't try as hard. Eventually, he became about the team, being a captain. He won his cup. He was very happy to win his cup. Oh, there's so many viral videos of Ovi in his cup. And that's where he kind of grew. Mm-hmm. He grew as a player. He grew as a person. He grew as a captain. And now, to put in perspective of the new Alex Ovechkin, I'll read you a quote from a goalie. His name is Olaf Kolzig. Sorry. I texted the grade 8 congratulations, and he responded by telling me I'm part of his history. I'm like, haha, you scored on me once. Shows the ego of all athletes. But he scored on me once. He goes, no. You assisted on 5 of my goals. How does he know that? I didn't know that. Says all you need to know about the greatest goal scorer in NHL history. It's all right. I was a hater, but he did grow a little bit. He's not so selfish anymore. But I just cannot shake that thought in the back of my head of 51 goals, minus 35, leading the league in scoring, leading the league in the worst plus minus. And, that GIF, and it is pronounced GIF, is just burned into my head of Alex Ovechkin slowly skating into frame. Not even skating, sliding into frame as he watches, just puck watches, a very nice goal scored by the New York Rangers. And sorry, audio listeners, if you want to have some idea of what I'm talking about, head to Instagram.
Yeah, that's the Slo Ur Roll, at Slo Ur Roll on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to add. I mean, it's Carmelo Anthony. It is. Like, it would be as if like Carmelo Anthony like broke a offensive scoring record. Sure. Yeah, like Carmelo didn't give a shit.
Or if LeBron James.
No, LeBron plays defense. Get out of here.
Shots fired.
No, LeBron plays defense. LeBron cares. LeBron does want to win.
Yes.
And he does play defense. Carmelo did not play defense. Mm-hmm. The only thing Carmelo cared about was scoring. So he's the Carmelo Anthony of hockey, except he's just way better at it than Carmelo was. So he can break the all-time scoring record.
He did grow.
Okay.
He tries now. He's more of a team player now. And like, you know, I understand. You can't have a little video like that go viral and be like, ooh, that looks really bad. Mm-hmm. I'm standing in the slot just watching the play take place. That's not a good look. Especially if you're the captain.
Yes. All right.
But congratulations, Alex.
Congrats.
You're the best.
Congrats to Alex Ovechkin.
Oh, actually, one more quick stat, just to show that he's the best goal scorer. He's not the best player. Mm-hmm. There was a stat that went viral a couple years ago about Wayne Gretzky and how that if you took away every single goal he ever scored in an NHL, he is still the all-time points leader.
Really?
The best to ever do it.
All-time points leader? Like plus minus or?
Assists.
Like he still would account for the most points because of all of his assists?
Assists and goals crazy. Are each a point. So he has so many assists. He has more assists than any other player has points.
Okay. That's crazy.
The best to ever do it.
All right. So with that, back to baseball here, guys. Care or don't care. We'll tell you some teams with some hot starts or poor starts. If we believe in it, if we care, or if we do not. Jesse, hey. I will start with you, a team that was definitely picked to be in the basement, potentially even below the A's, because the A's at least have some interesting pieces.
They made some moves this year.
The Los Angeles Angels. Yeah. Care or don't care about their hot start. I believe they sit at... Are they in first place? Or the Rangers?
Second place.
Okay,
I think they're only half game back, though.
Yes, the Rangers continue to be in first place. Mm-hmm. But yes, the Los Angeles Angels. What do we believe in here?
Oh, how could you not believe this? The Angels are this good, and they're missing their best player, Anthony Rendon. How can you not believe this? No, I don't believe any of this. Because, like, you know, we say this every year. Any baseball fan knows that, like, the first month of the season is half of what you see is a lie. And oh my God, do I not believe this?
The Pirates were in first place for like a month and a half, 2 months.
And that one you should always believe, because the Pirates are the best April team every year, and everyone knows it. But no, I do not believe this. You know, you're held together by I don't even know here. Like, okay, you brought in, like, Kikuchi. I like Kikuchi. He's okay. But he's mid. And, like, your other pitching staff is, like, Tyler Anderson, Kyle Hendricks, who, like, has been over the hill for, like, 2 years now. Mm-hmm. You brought in Kenley Jansen, who's very old. Like, who on this team, really? Logan O'Hoppe?
Well, he's at least 24, 25.
Listen, he's great. He's also just a catcher.
Yes.
You're not going to like, oh man, Tim Anderson? Come on.
I didn't even know he was on this team.
He is on this team. He's here to strike out. Like, okay, I like Trout. I like Soler. Mm-hmm. That's it. And also Soler's a guy who instant offense strikes out a good amount. Like, that's not a guy you're looking to carry you anywhere. Mm-hmm. Who on this team, other than Mike Trout, who gets injured a lot, and is, you know, a little older, still an all-star, I bet. He's dynamic, but, like, he's not going to carry you.
No, I know.
Like, what am I looking at here to believe any of this? Kenley Jansen, no. Kyle Hendricks, no. There's nothing here to believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I actually think they can score some runs a little bit. I think Tyler Ward's not bad to throw into that lineup as well. I actually think they're going to score some runs, but I don't believe in this pitching staff at all. And I'm with you. I don't believe in this team. So, all right. On to the next one. Care or don't care. The Atlanta Braves. Listen, if this was a 1 to 10 meter, on panic, I'd be at a 4. I'm slightly concerned, mostly because I have a lot of financial interest in this one. But at the end of the day, if we're just doing care or don't care, I'm still going to have to lean with don't care. Listen, it was horrible to start. They did face the Dodgers and the Padres, who both started the year off by winning like 7 straight. They unfortunately, then when they got a easier team in the Marlins, one of the games was rained out, so they couldn't get the full 3 games. They at least won the opener against the Phillies. They lost last night in a close game. There are some reasons to be concerned. Matt Olson's decline happened last year, and he has not started the year off great. Austin Riley at least looks like he's hitting again. They're going to get Acuna and Strider back, who, if you were going to make a list of the top 30 players in baseball, both of them are probably on it. So you're going to get 2 absolute stars back here to bolster this team at some point. Some of the kids in the rotation have looked very good. AJ Smith-Shawver has not looked good, but the swing and miss stuff is there, so you'd think that maybe the results should get better as the year goes on. But Spencer Schwellenbach has been absolutely sensational. Sale, we're expecting some regression. He hasn't been great, but I'm sure he'll be better than he has been. And yeah, I don't think Grant Holmes is awful either. And again, he's a placeholder until Strider comes back. Ozzie Albies has never started the season off good. He's always bad to start the year. I feel like they have some guys who are historically slow starters. I have minor concerns with the team. Maybe they're not going to achieve what I thought. Maybe they won't win the division, but I'm still going to lean don't care. I still think this is a very good team that will look up and they'll be turning it around by summertime. I don't know if you have anything there.
I mean, I'm kind of in that same boat.
Okay.
All right. I mean, I started this bad. That is concerning.
It is.
Especially when the Phillies have looked actually pretty damn good to come out the gate. I know it's not about necessarily division. Like you can still make the playoffs with a wild card. But, you know, it's you are in last place. And I think they're like, I know I called out the Mets last time we were here saying, like, I don't think they're good. But, like, you know, they're a team that can sneak up on you and bite you. And, like, you have to now hurdle all these teams. All right, we think the Marlins are going to be really bad, but, like, you're behind them. Like, that is a concerning thing. But I still think this roster is just too loaded. It's too good. And then, yeah, like, the Marlins will fall back to earth. If you can call that falling back to earth, they're 500. They'll trade away Sandy Alcantara. That'll be a team you can beat up on. I'd like to think the Nationals will be good, and I still think they will be. But, like, who knows? That's another team you might be able to actually just beat up on. But you're just too good. You are too good of a roster. As long as you stay healthy, you're just gonna climb.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jesse, next one. The Cincinnati Reds. They've had a pretty abysmal start to the season, particularly offensively. Care or don't care about the Reds?
I really want to not care, but I care.
I do too.
Because, like, all right, this thing's like, all right, Hunter Green has looked fantastic. All right, he's looked to actually grow into this player. Was it Nick Lodolo was the other one? I like these kids. But, like, all these other ones on the other side, like, all right, Ellie has started a little slow, but that's okay. Like, we know he's dynamic. Like, Candelario, Encarnacio Strand, Lux, Steer, Fraley. Like, those are some decent players here. But, like, you're kind of all constantly disappointing me here on this Reds team. And at some point, I just have to accept the fact that, like, maybe that's actually who you are. Like, I guess I can't put Gavin Lux into that because he has only just become a Red this year. But, like, and I know it's early. The 2004 Red Sox started slow with Terry Francona. I'm sure it'll take them a minute to, like, get these guys all up to snuff. But I just kind of think this is who they are. They're kind of just mid at best, probably actually below that.
Yeah, I mean, I would be pretty concerned. I mean, I looked, when Matt McClain goes down, Gavin Lux is hitting cleanup. Like, that's a problem. It's a pretty bad offensive team. And when Nick Lodolo and Green go out there, you have a great chance to win. But I'm concerned about this offense. I would totally care about this start as well. All right. Next one. The San Francisco Giants. An amazing start. They found themselves in first place for a little bit. I actually believe they are still in first place again. Half game.
Padres.
Padres are in first? Okay.
Yeah.
But I think they had won 7 in a row at one point. They're 9-3. Care or don't care about their start? I'll be honest with you, I don't care. At all. At all. Now, maybe I think they're going to be a little bit better than what I gave them credit for, but this is not sustainable in a division that is really good. This offense, I mean, come on. Patrick Bailey, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman. The Tyler Fitzgerald kid at least was good last year, but Wilmer Flores, the outfield is Jung Ho Lee, Luis Matos, and Ramos. Yeah, Yastrzemski is like sneakily old, by the way.
Yeah.
And has been falling off. The pitching staff, I do think has some potential because Hayden Burnsong has some swing and miss stuff. We'll see what Ray has left in the tank. Logan Webb, we know, is good. Now, Verlander got knocked around yesterday by the Reds. Justin might be cooked. So, again, I don't think this is as bad as a team as I might have thought. Maybe they'll be a 500 team. But I certainly do not care about this hot start to the season. And I certainly do not think that this is sustainable in the long run at all. I don't think this team is very good. Do you have any thoughts?
It
is the Giants, though, so they just are known to just
sure. There was that random
conjure up some bullshit every couple of years.
Yeah, that random 100-win season.
Yeah.
When they had nobody.
Yes.
Like their best player was like Evan Longoria.
Yeah.
The ghost of Evan Longoria. I mean, I care a little bit because like I kind of thought they would surprise some people this season. Mm-hmm. Now I thought that would just be like, all right, you're going to end the season above 500. You'll make some noise, but like you'll compete for a wild card at best and probably just fall away in the end. But I think they were at least going to be competitive. Mm-hmm. So I think they'll maintain this. It's just like, the Dodgers will kick it up a notch. Diamondbacks will kick it up a notch, and they'll just not be able to keep up. Mm-hmm. So I think they're like...
Well, I just said that I think they might be a little bit better than what I gave them credit for. They might be around a 500 team, but I certainly do not think that they are going to be competing for this division come June and July.
If you win, I think this is like an 86, 87 win team.
Maybe in June they'll still be competing. By July they will be out of the division race, I believe. All right.
I think it'll be better than that for them.
Okay.
Like, they'll give themselves a reason to buy at the deadline and then regret it.
Okay. Staying in the NL West, Jesse, how much do you care about this torrent start for the San Diego Padres?
Not at all.
Really?
Literally not at all.
Okay.
And it's like, I like a lot of players on this Padres team. Luis Ariz is actually very exciting to watch. Of course, Sander Bogarts is near and dear to my heart. I think Dylan Cease is great. Manny Machado is another one of those guys where, like, as he's aged, he's kind of left a better taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. Jose Iglesias is actually very funny. But, like, most of those guys are old, regressing, and the other one is Luis Ariz, who, like, I love him. He's great. One of the best leadoff hitters in the league. That's all he is, though. He's a leadoff hitter. He gets on base, and then he's reliant on everyone behind him to make some magic. Mm-hmm. And I don't trust this team. Oh, Jason Hayward. Yes, that guy. So dynamic. Like, I mean, I guess I like Fernando Tatis Jr., but that's only one other man. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to trust Nick Pivetta to keep this up? I no. He doesn't do that. He goes through these little patches of like, oh, he's the best pitcher in the league for like 3 straight starts, and then he's terrible. Like, this Michael King, I guess. Like, nothing about this team really jumps out to me that you're actually the best team in probably actually the best division. And I like this team. There's a lot of good players throughout. Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, they still have something to give. But they are far from the players that they used to be a couple years ago. Mm. So, wild card.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's about where I saw the Padres. So, next one, the last one, the Texas Rangers. So this is a difficult one for me to sort of gauge because, like, we all thought they'd be good. We all thought they'd compete for the division. So I don't really know if I'm supposed to say care or don't care, but I'm going to lean still don't care. again, I think this team has the potential to win the division still. But right now, they're leading it by a game. Only over the Angels, though. They're 3.5 up on Houston, and they're 9-4. They do have a -8 run differential on this 9-4 record. I think this team is good. I think they can hit. Do I think that they will be running away with this division? I do not. And that's why I'm going to say don't care. Listen, Patrick Corbin started a game like not long ago, okay? DeGrom has looked pretty good. There is that. Kumar Rocker, he's got the strikeout pitch working, at least in his 11 innings. But this is his first time being in the starting rotation, so at some point, the innings might come up to him and he might be worse. Nathan has been downright nasty, so if he can stay healthy, that's a big thing, and I do think this team can score runs. But I do believe right now that the pitching is performing over its head, and the pitching is what I didn't trust with this team, and part of why I still leaned Astros to win this division. Now, the Astros suffered a big blow with Spencer Arrighetti going down, so Texas may still win this division. And honestly, if you asked me to put money on someone, I'd probably lean Texas right now. But it's not going to be as great as this start. It's not going to be 9-4, one of the best records in the American League, and blowing by the Astros. It's not. The pitching's performing a little bit over its head. Do we really think Eovaldi and DeGrom will stay healthy all season? I do not. So I'm going to lean a little don't care with, again, the asterisk of like, we all knew that this team would be competing for the division.
Actually, you know what? I kind of disagree with this one.
Okay.
I kind of care a lot.
Okay.
And it's not even necessarily about...
I wanted to say care, but I looked at this again, and I'm just like, come on.
You're looking at the wrong thing.
Okay.
Look at the other teams.
That is true.
Seattle sucks.
Oh, no, I know Seattle.
They are terrible. Angels, I think they're going to be bad.
Yes. Houston can't hit.
Well, the Athletics, they'll be okay, but I still don't think they're still far from really competing for much of anything. Houston, I think they're going to punt this year, and I think they know it. Okay. I think they kind of went into this year being like, we're going to kind of punt this year. Now, if they just get hot and are actually right there with the division come July, they'll probably still be like, all right, we're going to buy at the deadline, and we're going to actually go for it because we're aggressive. I still think they are probably thinking about punting this year, and you're kind of just, you're open for the division at that point. Like, that is your main competitor still, because I think the other 2-3 teams are not close. 2 of them are actually really bad, and it's somehow not the Athletics. And yeah, I think Houston's going to punt.
Okay. That could be true. And listen, with the Spencer Arrighetti injury, I do think is a big deal, because that was the place where I was like, they're significantly better than Texas in the starting rotation. Basically in the entire pitching staff, but particularly the starting rotation, and their depth is way better. But with Arrighetti going down, he's going to be out for at least a month because he has thumb surgery. That was a big hit. Massive hit. But Jordan still hasn't gotten going yet, and he usually starts slow anyway. So I think, it'll be them and the Houston battling neck and neck till maybe the final week of the season.
All right.
But you do not. You think, and you know what? Houston already went into this season not being aggressive. So I always thought that Houston was not punting on the season, but certainly in a place of we're just going to kind of let it play out.
And I
just don't trust Texas's staff. I just don't. The pitching staff.
And also nothing Houston does will surprise me. If they decide that we're actually going to go for it hard this year, that would not shock me at all. That's right on par with who they've been for the past decade. But I just look at what they have right now, the situation they're in. I mean, you could argue like actually the division other than Texas is wide open, son. The whole American League is wide open, son. Why not still be aggressive? And you're right. But I look at Houston and their situation. I think I can definitely see them punting, taking a knee, however you want to call it. They're not going as hard this year, folks.
Yeah. All right. So that has been it for Care or Don't Care. And we will finish this episode off with our Darwin as always. So drum roll, please, Jesse. This week's Darwin winner is Kevin Durant again.
Why?
He's won a couple. But, listen, he left Golden State because he got into a fight with Draymond and he felt like he needed to be the guy and have all of the credit. He went to Brooklyn. That was a mess. It was kind of only viable for 1 year, right? Then he went to the Suns. We all thought this is going to be it. Devin Booker, whoever the other player is, I don't know. Guess what? It was viable for about a season, I think.
Chris Paul was there, right, at one point?
Yes, he was. Kevin Durant and this team was viable for about one season. And now it's a mess again. They are 35-45. The Warriors somehow, without Klay Thompson now too. Steph Curry has lost Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. And the Warriors are still better than the team that Kevin Durant is on. The Warriors are 47-33. The Suns are 35-45. Everyone is saying the experiment is over. KD wants out again of another team. And I mean, I feel like this is the cherry on top, the crescendo, the final nail in the coffin of KD's legacy. What is KD's legacy? Because for years, all I heard is he's going to go down as a top 10 player in the NBA ever, maybe top 15. So talented. Someone 7 foot tall who can shoot, score like him. Easily one of the best players ever. Hey, if he had better situations, maybe he could have competed with LeBron. And now it's like, is he the most talented mess of all time in the NBA? Is he the most underachieving talent ever in the NBA? And it's also weird because he's not an obvious cancer in a locker room. Like, there's not there were some stories in Golden State by the end, but you know, Draymond was part of that, and Draymond is a lot. Like, there's not a ton of stories about him being the problem in Brooklyn. There's not a million stories about him being the problem in this. No, I know it was Kyrie.
His teammate was taking all the headlines.
No, I know. There's not a million stories of him being a problem in the Suns. They just kind of just feel like they don't mesh and they're bad. But it's like, dude, you couldn't win in OKC. You went to Brooklyn. That was a mess. And you went to the Suns and you blew that up. So the only time you have won was with Steph, who also has won 2 championships without you. I don't know if I've ever seen a player held in as high a regard as KD was make more of a mess of his lasting legacy in the end than Kevin Durant did. He basically set out to leave Golden State to prove that he could do it on his own. He wanted to prove certain things. And you know what all he proved in leaving Golden State was the exact opposite. If he had just stayed at Golden State, continued to win titles, he just would have been undeniable. Even though people would have gave Steph a ton of credit, but still would have been like, listen, he probably would have, he'd have multiple finals MVPs. I guarantee it.
I don't think it would have been quite undeniable. Now, maybe if
I'm not saying he'd be in the conversation with LeBron, best player ever. I'm just saying like the legacy would become undeniable.
Well, because
like the talent, the championships.
Now
the NBA loves the talent. So.
People would still kind of say, like, well, it's only because you went to KC or you went to Golden State, and because you teamed up with Steph Curry that you then started winning the championships and the Finals MVP. And
but you're forgetting Steph had just lost one to LeBron. And then he didn't lose again when he got KD to LeBron. So people would have been like, well, Steph won one without KD, but then he lost one without KD. And KD has multiple NBA Finals MVPs, because I bet he would.
Yeah, but there still would have been some...
There would have been some.
And I think in his own head, like comments like that...
Well, he's got to get out of that.
They really
that didn't help him.
I think they really bug him. And you shouldn't let anything like that bug you, son. If you're on any level of this game or any of the major sports. But I think he cares. That's kind of where his main focus is. Like, what is my legacy? How do I look in public? And this is Steph Curry's team, a team that I know they lost in the finals in embarrassing fashion, at least by NBA standards. But the series prior was Steph Curry doing the exact same thing to Kevin Durant and his Golden State Warriors, or not his
Thunder,
Oklahoma City Thunder. And the story immediately was Kevin Durant signs up with the greatest team of all time because they broke the record. Like, and that's all people were saying from the get-go. People were like, oh, LeBron.
See, you always talk about, though, how once your career is over and we look back, we usually just remember the highlights.
That's generally true.
I feel like 8 years down the road after, people would have, not forgotten it, but I think it would have become less prevalent.
No, definitely.
Because people would have been like, well, Steph did lose to LeBron, and then KD got there, and Steph never lost again.
No, that's factual. That's factual. And I think, yes, no matter what, even if he did stay, eventually the public would have been like, I mean, let's just look at these stats. How many MVPs? Okay. Or finals MVPs? Okay, he's great.
Yeah.
But I don't think Kevin Durant would have ever moved on and forgotten.
Maybe he wouldn't have.
I think in his own mind.
That's KD's problem.
In his mind, he always had to go do it on his own somewhere else. Probably even because, I assume, not even necessarily because the fans were saying it, because I know for a fact Draymond Green said it to his face.
Yes, he did.
And that probably bothers him every single day.
True. But in doing so, being so in his head, caring so much about that, he essentially ruined his own legacy and proved everything right that he was trying to disprove. So,
I mean, I still think his legacy will, after he retires, decades go by. Like, remember that guy? That guy put up numbers.
There's a million of those.
I guess.
The NBA.
And and how do we remember them all? As guys who put up numbers.
That's it. Oh, you remember his James Harden, bro?
That's not numbers. He does that. James Harden only does numbers.
That was mean. That was over the top. That was a shot.
He does numbers in the strip club. That's it.
And in meaningless regular season games.
And at the buffet table.
But congratulations to this week's Darwin Award winner, Kevin Durant, who in his second stint since leaving Golden State has also blown that building up and blown that place up and is the abject failure and wants out. Congratulations, KD. That has been it for Slow Your Roll this week, and have a great rest of your week, ladies and gentlemen.